what we will be doing today is talk about all the characters in KOF, but mostly all the characters in KOF and what to expect by the average player of said character. Now, this is a concept that I don't think a lot of people think about, but when you fight a specific character, there will be common themes going around, for each of them. They will all have their habits based on what is good and what is bad about their character, but not also that, also the way people mitigate this. So if a tool is good, an average player will be more likely to use that tool a lot. And if a tool is bad, of course, it might be rarer. Now, a better player or a good player takes this concept and uses it as a way for them to, play mix-ups or variate the approach. But generally, you want to test this as somebody that is fighting them. So we are going to be looking at different things for different characters. Now, Kyo is the first character in the character select, and I think that Kyo has, I'm not 100% sure about it in this game, I think it does, but is armor on some of his specials, right? Especially the DP. Now, as I mentioned another time when I was talking about this, armor on a DP isn't necessarily the same thing as invincibility on a DP. And this is because armor affects anti-airing in different ways than a full invincibility on DP does. If you try and jump on somebody, right, with a safe jump, when they have invincibility, your head will not touch anything because there are invincible frames there. You will go down, and the DP, if the safe jump is executed right, will not hit you. Now, if you do have armor as the player that is performing the DP, the armor will stop the opponent, preventing them from going down and actually hitting them on the way up of their DP. So the safe jump must be much more precise. Now, this is something that Kyo players, of course, know. So against Kyo players, if you try and do a normal safe jump in a way, right? If you hit like at this height, most likely they'll be able, if they're standing, to stop you there, right? Even if they're recovering in the air, and anti-air you with their DP. So this is something like to keep in mind. Now, what can you do about this, right? If they are trying to anti-air you up here with their DP, because they're like, oh, you're not going to be able to safe jump me, one of your mix-up could be just not press a button when you're here. So their DP doesn't touch you, doesn't lock you up there. They whiff, and then you can punish them, right? I don't know Spanish, but that's kind of the idea. Also, another thing that Kyo has that is really good is his rekkas, right? Because he can make them safe with spacing, and he can play mix-ups with all the variants. You have two ways that are kind of like smart in a way to deal with this. One is, of course, to try and outspace the rekkas, so like how much space they have, and just kind of play outside of them and whiff punish them, right? If I'm standing here, they will be doing this, for example, and so on. That's kind of like the main thing. But also, what you can do is enter the space and jump on top of them, depending on the character, of course. Some characters will not have that way to deal with it, right? Or stand outside and just kind of super jump on it. But yeah, generally, against Kyo, you expect a lot of those. Another thing you can expect from Kyo players is this jump CD. Jump CD for Kyo is quite large horizontally in the air and also downward, right? So they will be using this quite a bit, and it's also quite hard to low profile. So doing things like this on a jump CD for Kyo is quite risky unless you have really, really good timing and read on the time they will push the button. Yeah, that was a mistake, but that's actually my next step. This move is fucked. Really, really fucked, right? In my opinion, the Kyos actually don't use this enough. Even though I'll be the first to tell you, don't use a good tool, you know, sparingly just because it's good. This tool, actually, I don't think Kyo players use it enough. So, as a defender, that tool and rekkas kind of play, kind of complement each other. Because what happens is, if you are trying to bait a rekka to space yourself out, right? As you can see, I'm almost at the space where my rekka whiffs. There it is. Look at this. Oops. This is where where the move hits, right? This is the D version. If you do the B version, actually you're shorter, but that's fine. So what happens is that if you're trying to super jump over that, you will be air to air there. And if you do try to space yourself out of this, of the rekka move, you will be hit by this, or you will be blocking that at most ranges, and they will be safe. So once the level goes slightly higher, when you're fighting a Kyo that actually knows what they're doing, they will be mixing these two options. Of course, aside from this, and so on, right? So in general, you start to understand that the space that you want to keep against Kyo, when you're not at frame advantage, when you're not, you know, aggroing them and so, is basically quite dynamic, right? Because yes, you can outspace this rekka, but then they can just run in. Oh, sorry, the other one. They can just run in and do this, so they can still catch you in a way, right? But on the defensive side, you can do things like this. So if they're up there, and you do that, most likely either you're gonna be able to punish them, or you're going to revert the neutral by switching position and kind of resetting the neutral. Let me try and quickly go through his options to see if I am forgetting anything, because these are like quite short, so to speak, bundle of informations. There are kind of a primer to fight these characters in a way. They're not too complicated, right? Because most of the other tools that they have, they will use them either when they have you at frame disadvantage or when they hit you, so they're confirming things. It doesn't matter. You're already lost the interaction in neutral. What I am trying to make you understand is how to read things and how to expect different things from different characters because of the way they're designed. So this, for example, is another thing that I would like to talk about. One thing that Kyo has that is really good is this button, down forward D, which can catch a lot of people off guard, because if I remember right, they're both lows, right? So if I was to make him stand and guard, they will be hit by the low, right? So what happens is that, especially in the corner, and especially due to the range, right, you can be hit by this, so you instantly go down and block at that range, because his low is so far, and he can also convert into max. I don't know his conversions, but generally he can do that, right? Just get rid of this bar. So what happens is that in the corner, they can also hit this into max mode, into rekka loops, right? So when you're cornered against Kyo, you can expect both of these options to be mixed up, right? What can you do to deal with both of them that is not, you know, just wake up DP and hope that they reach far enough? Because if you space it right, this might go under the DP startup, right? At some ranges. Rolling is actually one of your answers here, because rolling is invincible until recovery. So if you're expecting both of these options, thanks for the stream, dude. This is super helpful. I'm glad you enjoy. Welcome in. So I was saying rolling on wake up, for example, if you want to avoid both of these options, is actually one of the answers that carries the less risk, because it forces the opponent to move from this position, right, to confirm and to try and hit you and try to play the mix-up, into a closer position, because you're already like getting out of that and out of this with a back roll, and you're still in the corner, so you're not like going forward to them, they recover, and then they put you at frame advantage, for example. Of course, like at some point you're gonna get out of the corner, but this is like one of the ways to deal with this mix-up. Unfortunately though, if you try and do this and the Kyo kinda catches up, this is one of the things they can do, and wait for their roll, right? And then if they're really good with their execution, oops, sorry, that or that, right? And that's big damage that you're eating. But then again, you're playing at different layers, right? We are talking about kind of the first few layers of what a Kyo does. Yeah, this is also good, right? This is also like a thing that Kyos will do a lot. Stand A. Stand A as a defense, right? This is like basic 101 KOF. I've spoken about this before. Okay, so let me go on. Fireball. Oh yeah, another thing that Kyos do at range is this move that I don't know what it's called here, but I call it the Shredder. I think it's New Way Smash. Yeah, okay. So against many opponents, well, some opponents, depending on who you're using, against some characters, sorry. I keep saying many, I don't know why. Against some characters, the second hit will whiff, especially at some distances, right? So if they keep trying to put you in this position of frame advantage, I don't know how to do the follow-up on block, but they can do 2 kicks on block, basically. Yeah, there we go, based on the spacing. If you know, this is something that you have to lab, if you know that the second hit will whiff, you can actually either hit them right after the second hit as it whiffed and reset them in the air and play a high or a overhead mix-up, or if you're really, really good and you're really feeling your oats, you can wait for them to come down, hit them with a crouch C or a stand C, depending whatever your character has, crouch B, and just go to town, right? So you have to show the Kyo player that if it whiffs on your character, it will not whiff on Chang, right? On block. But if it does whiff on a crouching character, you will need to take advantage of that, right? So you see how you are building some sort of encyclopedia or whatever, right? Or a series of information about a character that is building up. When you have this package, right, all neat and wrapped up, and you know everything that is inside, your layer 1, right, the shit that the Kyo player will pull at layer 1 will have to, like, your opponent will get rid of that fast and will start going deep in the layer, because they know that after 2 times that they try to mix you up with low or forward overhead and you roll back, right, and maybe you have anti-air or jump or whatever, they know that you know, so they need to adapt. Most likely they will adapt. Good players do, right? Yeah, this one. Also, this is like one of the other answers is anti-air in this, but anti-air in this means that you sorry, not this, anti-air in this, but anti-air in this means most likely that you have invincibility, because you're not gonna win easily against this move. So that's another of your answer, but it's seriously not the universal one, because most characters would not be able to anti-air that consistently or like easily. Fireball. Does he have a fireball? Oh yeah, it means that oh no, this thing. Why is it called fireball? Oh well. Wicked Chew. Oh yeah, these are the rekkas. Oh, but is this called fireball? Anyway, so oh, this might step over lows, but this is not something that a lot of Kyos use. I haven't seen it used enough. Use a lot, even like at higher level. This one, yes. This one, yes, because like it's a hitbox and kind of pulls back the hurtbox and recovers really fast, as you can see. But generally, it's not something that Kyos abuse at all levels and so on. Another thing that some Kyos do is play kind of mix-ups with the rekkas, since they have like so many follow-ups and so on. And I know that like some of them go low, some of them are overheads and blah blah blah. consider just getting out of the situation with stuff like roll cancels on block. Don't abuse it. Don't spend like 5 bars getting out of those, because otherwise you have a bigger problem. You are playing inside this range where it can mix you up with the rekkas. You shouldn't be playing here anyway. But sometimes it happens. So sometimes it's good depending on, you know, the time left, the life lead that you have, to just get out of that situation with guard cancels, right? But they will be able to do that. Of course, like if there are gaps, I don't know this character at that level, I still need to study him. But if there are gaps between the rekkas, feel free to learn them and just DP. So they can't play the mix-up at all, right? But of course, remember that they can just stop and you'll be fucked because he whiffed. Okay. I've never seen this move. Hold on. Can't. No, stand. Okay, so. Okay, I don't know really. This must be a move, a new move from KOF 2002 UM. I don't remember it in '98 much. So this is. Oh yeah. So this is the classic. This is an option that Kyos will use to anticipate jumps and super jumps, right? So if you are for whatever reason getting zoned for example, like by stuff like this, or rekkas into mix up that lead to a knockdown and then they reset to neutral, and you're like, you know what, I don't feel comfortable here, I'm getting stressed because I'm losing the neutral, I'm going to super jump over them because I'm expecting a rekka. You super jump and you get that. Even on a trade, they win the trade because they do a lot of damage, they put you in the corner and you're back at square one, and they can play this game again or this game again. Oh my god. You cannot cancel this? Yeah, okay. That game again into rekkas and so on, right? So you are building already a lot of information. Of course, like level 2 is even more damage and he actually gains a hitbox and so on. So even better for that. Max 2. Oh, this is the common grab, right? Of course, be careful of this. Because remember what we were saying, they might come with down forward D and forward B into max mode and so on. I said, roll back. Oh, not this one. Sorry. Let's say that you're expecting that. Why am I not getting it? Oh, it's the other way around. That's why. But yeah, you're expecting that. And they grab you. Right? But once again, you have information that you need to use. You have information because your bar, their bar is at 30% now, so they have access to it. From 1 second, I'll read the question in a second. So you don't have to worry about this option until they're at 30% and they have 3 bars. So this is how your knowledge helps you in fighting games.